All right, we're going to be talking about components in Figma. In Figma, components are reusable design elements or objects that can be created, customized, and replicated throughout a design project. They allow designers to maintain consistency and efficiency by updating a single instance of a component automatically, reflecting those changes across all instances in the project. Components are commonly used for UI elements like buttons, icons, or navigation bars, ensuring uniformity and making it easier to manage and edit design elements across different screens or artboards. We're going to go straight to practical. So we want to start out by creating this button here, this get started button, which I've created here. And to do that, to start off, we're going to go to our toolbar here. Under region tools, click on frame or F. F is the shortcut key for frame in Figma. So when you click on it, you notice this plus here. You're going to click on it again and drag to create your frame. So the dimensions of this frame, of this button, are width is 142 and height is 44. Bear in mind that we're creating a very large button. Then we notice that there's a corner radius on this button. We have 4 corners here and they all have a curve. So when you go to your design panel, under frame here, you would see corner radius. This is where you can adjust the corner radius of your files. So here we picked 10. I'm going to pick 10 for my frame as well. And we're going with 10. Remember, one of the ways you can work in the dark is to use the button Shift O. Shift plus O. When I type Shift O, I can actually see my frame even without a fill. Shift O helps you work in the dark. We have a fill color here, 550-303, and opacity is 100%. So I can come here and copy this figure, Control copy, Control C, come to my frame. And if you're wondering where the frame is, by the time you hover like this, you would find your frame, or you use Shift O. Click on your frame. Under design, the design panel here, go down, scroll all the way down. This is what it looks like. Scroll all the way down to fill. Fill, as the name says, fill. You want to fill something up with color. So click on fill or the plus sign. The default color again is white. Come here, double click and Control V, which is paste. Control V and click on enter. When you click on enter, notice that we've successfully copied that color here. Now, if you have a file you are making reference to and you do not want to go through the process of having to Control copy and Control V, you can simply come to the file you're working with, click on it, go to fill. Let's take out the fill so I can show you how that works. Click on the file, go to fill, yes. Click on this small box here for your colors. Go to your color picker. To find your color picker, that's it here. Click on the color picker. You'd see this. Come to the color that you want to pick and click on it. Very easy. Now I want to pick this ox blood red or whatever color it's called. All I need to do is click on the color I want to pick and voila, it has given me the hex code. You see the hex code is the same as the hex code we copied the last time. So that's a second way you can pick and drop colors without having to do all of the other things that I did. Now that we have a color, let's close this. We want to get our text ready. To get your text, you can either, the smarter and faster way would be to just come here, double click, copy, come into your frame, double click, and paste. Paste here. Don't paste to replace. Paste here. And voila, I've successfully copied both of them. But that's one way. We're going to show you the other way. So the other way is to come to your toolbar. Remember that this is your toolbar. If you're new to Figma and you do not know how to operate Figma, I have a tutorial, very detailed tutorial on how to use Figma. So come to your toolbar, click on text, come into your frame and drop. Type get started, like so. Sorry. Right, now we have our text inside our frame. Now to confirm that your text is inside your frame, you can do this. Obviously, when you do this and you notice that the text is not moving with the frame, it means that your text is not inside your frame. Another way to confirm that your text is inside your frame is to come to the layers panel right here. Layers panel. Under layers, scroll all the way down. Figma always highlights the item that you're working with. So because we've selected this, it's showing us frame 4. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to change this, rename the frame to get started. You can see that this frame has a text child element that's titled get started. So that way I know that my text is hosted inside the frame. We have our text now. Let's move our text aside. We want to get this arrow that's here. To do so, click on your frame again, right click, scroll all the way down to plugins. If you're new to Figma, you can click on manage plugins, wait for it to load. Once it loads, we're going for a plugin that can help us with icons. I talked about plugins in my Figma tutorial. Plugins are very useful for designers as they provide you with resources that are very important to your design journey. So I'm going to click on Iconify. When I click on an Iconify, you see this board here opens up. Now I can search for whatever icon I please. So I'm going to type arrow. Just type arrow and click on enter. Iconify will show you different types of arrows. As you can see here, I have page 1 and I have page 2. I have find more icons. I think I already have what I want, so I'm going to go with this. Click on the arrow of your choice, scroll down and scroll all the way down to import icon, right? You can import it as a component, you can import it as an icon code, but we're going to stay with import icon. Click on that. When you do that, you see your prompt saying imported icon. Close it. Notice that it imported the icon into my frame. Why? Because I selected the frame before I started the whole process. If I did not select it, it would have imported the icon to any other part of this canvas. So now we have our icon. Notice that I didn't change the color. I want to change the color, the width, and the height to suit what we have here. So here we have an arrow that is, come to the right side of your panel, and you see the width is 16 and the height is 16. So we want to take on those properties, and to do that, I'm going to come to my own arrow. First off, I would like to rename it. Click on the Ming cute arrow here and change it to arrow right, because it's facing the right. Yeah, now we want to get the size right, and the size of this is 16 by 16. So I'm going to come here, make sure you are clicked on arrow right and not group. I'm going to just come here and type 16 by 16. Notice that the width and the height instantly changes. Now what next? I want to change the color. If I come to fill under design, you would see here that the visibility icon is turned off. Now if I turn it back on, notice what happens. This is not what I'm trying to achieve. So I'm going to go back and close that visibility icon. Now what I want to do is, right, I want to click all the way down till I get to the arrow so that I can change the color of the arrow, not the frame that the arrow is hosted in. One of the ways I can do that is to come to my layers panel, as you see here. Under arrow right, you would see group, you would see vector, you would see vector. Now this vector here is the frame that is holding the arrow vector. If I come here and I click on fill, notice that we have the same results as the last time. So I don't want to fill that out. I want to change the color of the arrow. So I come here and I click on vector. The instant I click on vector, you would see that Figma has highlighted the arrow itself. So I can then come to fill. The color here is 545454. Change the hex code to FFFFF, which is white. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to just click down until you get to the arrow itself, and then you change the color. That's a second way to do it. Now we have our color ready. Now we want to get this arrow facing right, just like this one. How do we do that? One way is to come down here, click on your arrow, go to your design panel here. Under frame, you would see rotation. Under rotation, remember our mathematics, angles facing 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 360 degrees. It works fine here as well. So if I click on this and I type 90 degrees, notice what has happened. The arrow faces left. If I go for 360, notice what happens. It goes back to default. So to turn this arrow right, we just simply need to add a minus sign in front of 90. And voila, we've successfully turned our arrow right. You can also explore the option of scrubbing like this. Do you see that? So let's go back to minus 90. After noting that, I'm going to start out by adding these two texts to a frame. So what am I going to do? I'm going to click on Get Started, one, and then click on Arrow, and then add Auto Layout. Our Auto Layout is set to Horizontal Layout, which is where we want it to be. I'm going to come here to this frame and add Auto Layout. So now we have two auto layouts, one which is on the parent frame and another which is on the child. So we're going to come back here. Our width is still 142, height is 44. I'm going to change the width for this to 142 and height to 44. Then I'm going to come here. Let's rename this. I'm going to click on this frame and rename it. To rename it, come to your layers panel and type Get Started. It's always good to name your files. It helps make your work more detailed. So we have Get Started here, we have Get Started here. So that being done, let us come to the Get Started frame one. I think I should add one to that so that I can differentiate. Get Started one and then Get Started. And I'm going to align the items within this button. So to align the items within this frame, I'm going to click on this frame that already has an auto layout. Scroll down to my alignment box here. I will then align all the items inside the auto layout to the center, like this. Up next, we have this beautiful stroke, and we're going to be adding that to my button here. To do so, I'm going to come here under your design panel, go all the way down to stroke. You can see we have a stroke here of 2 and it is positioned outside the frame. There's also a linear color, but let's start with this first. So I'm going to come to my frame, scroll all the way down to stroke, click on stroke, and stroke outside, not center, not inside, stroke outside. And then my stroke, I'm going to leave it at 2. Click on enter. Come here, and what do we have next? For color, we have a linear gradient, and the first color we have here is B62C0E. To achieve a linear gradient for this button, I'm going to click on the button, come to stroke, not fill. Remember, fill is for the frame itself. Under stroke, click on it and click on gradient. Under gradient, you have different options. You have linear, you have radial, you have angular, and you have diamond. For today, we're going to stay with linear. So I click on linear. Now see what linear does. It gives us 2 color variations, 2 color options, and it also allows us to move our colors around. So let's say I have black at the top. How do I know that I have black at the top? This box here indicates that there's black here. Also, if you come here, You see your hex color here is 000, which is black. Then for the second color, all I need to do is click here. And again, you can see the hex color is the same, but the opacity is different. Opacity is 0. But for this, opacity is 100.